The Liberal Party of Australia is a major centre-right political party in Australia. One of the two major parties in Australian politics, along with the centre-left Australian Labor Party. It was founded in 1944 as the successor to the United Australia Party. The Liberal Party is the larger and dominant party in the coalition with the National Party of Australia. Except for a few short periods, the Liberal Party and its predecessors have operated in similar coalitions at federal level since the 1920s. The party's leader is Scott Morrison, the incumbent Prime Minister, and its deputy leader is Josh Frydenberg. The pair were elected to their positions at the August 2018 Liberal leadership ballot, with Morrison and Frydenberg replacing Malcolm Turnbull and Julie Bishop respectively. The coalition has been in power since the 2013 federal election, forming the Abbott, Turnbull and Morrison governments. The Liberal Party has a federal structure, with autonomous divisions in all 6 states and the Australian Capital Territory. The Queensland State Division were formed through mergers of the local Liberal and National parties. At state and territory level, the Liberal Party is in office in 3 states: New South Wales since 2011, Tasmania since 2014 and South Australia since 2018. The party is in opposition in the states of Victoria, Queensland, and in both the ACT and Northern Territory, and sit on the crossbench in Western Australia. The party's ideology has been referred to as conservative, liberal conservative, conservative liberal, and classical liberal. The Liberal Party tends to promote economic liberalism. Two past leaders of the party, Sir Robert Mingus and John Howard, are Australia's 2 longest-serving prime ministers. The Liberals' immediate predecessor was the United Australia Party to form the Nationalist Party of Australia in 1917. That party, in turn, merged with Labor dissidents to form the UAP in 1931. The UAP had been formed as a new Conservative alliance in 1931, with Labor defector Joseph Leon as its leader. The stance of Leon and other Labor rebels against the more radical proposals of the Labor movement to deal the Great Depression had attracted the support of prominent Australian conservatives. With Australia still suffering the effects of the Great Depression, the newly formed party won a landslide victory at the 1931 election, and the Leon government went on to win 3 consecutive elections. It largely avoided Keynesian pump priming and pursued a more conservative fiscal policy of debt reduction and balanced budgets as a means of stewarding Australia out of the Depression. Lyon's death in 1939 saw Robert Mingus assume the prime ministership on the eve of war. Mingus served as prime minister from 1939 to 1941 but resigned as leader of the Minority World War II government amidst an unworkable parliamentary majority. The UAP, led by Billy Hughes, disintegrated after suffering a heavy defeat in the 1943 election. In New South Wales, the party merged with the Commonwealth Party to form the Democratic Party. In Queensland, the state party was absorbed into the Queensland People's Party. From 1942 onward, Mingus had maintained his public profile with his series of The Forgotten People radio talks, similar to Franklin D. Roosevelt's fireside chats of the 1930s, in which he spoke of the middle class as the backbone of Australia, but as nevertheless having been taken for granted by political parties. Mingus called a conference of conservative parties and other groups opposed to the ruling Australian Labor Party, which met in Canberra on 13 October 1944 and again in Albury, New South Wales in December 1944. Outlining his vision for a new political movement, Mingus said, "We must look for, and it is a matter of desperate importance to our society, is a true revival of liberal thought which will work for social justice and security, for national power and national progress, and for the full development of the individual citizen, though not through the dull and deadening process of socialism." The formation of the party was formally announced at Sydney Town Hall on 31 August 1945. It took the name, Liberal, in honour of the old Commonwealth Liberal Party. The new party was dominated by the remains of the old UAP. With few exceptions, the UAP party room became the Liberal Party room. The Australian Women's National League, a powerful conservative women's organisation, also merged with the new party. A conservative youth group Mingus had set up, the Young Nationalists, was also merged into the new party. It became the nucleus of the Liberal Party's youth division, the Young Liberals. By September 1945 there were more than 90,000 members, many of whom had not previously been members of any political party. In New South Wales, the New South Wales division of the Liberal Party replaced the Liberal Democratic Party and Democratic Party between January and April 1945. In Queensland,